What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Less Brunches, More Crunches podcast. I have a special guest here today. And before I let him introduce himself, I'm just going to do a quick introduction and, run off a couple of accomplishments. So here we have Dr. Darian Parker, PhD in sports education leadership with an emphasis in behavior modification from UNLV, master and bachelor degrees from James Madison University and kinesiology, certified personal trainer, has been training in the game for over 20 years. So if I've been in the game for 6 years and I got a lot of knowledge, imagine where his knowledge is. Co-owner of Epic Leisure Management and host of the Dr. D Social Network podcast. Dr. Darian, appreciate you being here today.
Happy to be here, Chris. We had some fun on my podcast. It was awesome, man.
Yeah, I recently did his podcast, and I did my thing, he did his thing. So I'll actually link that to this podcast. So yeah, man, let's get to it. So I wanted to start off with, on my podcast, I'm big on mental health, and I feel like fitness is one of the biggest character builders. It's probably the biggest character builder. So how important is mental health and fitness? And how much is mental health, correlated with behavior change?
I think it's one of these things. It's like it's finally getting the attention that it needs to have. And that, if you've trained any significant amount of time, you know that when you work with clients, so much of it is the ups and downs of their lives. Yep. And what's going on in their life. And the training, while very important, it's the price of admission, but a lot of people stay with you because of how you make them feel about themselves. Yep. And the connection and relationship. And so when I did my doctorate in behavior change back in 2007, I finished, no one was talking about this, nothing. This was a zero thing in fitness and wellness. And now it's a big wave of behavior change and modification. So I'm a big fan of it. I think it's a gigantic part of training. And one that if you're a newer trainer, it's a great time to be a trainer because there's actually an emphasis on it at this point.
Absolutely. And the behavior change is big because like when I get a new client, I'll give them a meal plan, but before I break down like macros and how much protein you need to eat, I'm like, just get in the habit of eating clean. Like just get in the habit of getting a clean meal, buying a meal prep or preparing the meal yourself. Just get in that state of behavior change. So that's big. What steps, what advice would you give to someone who's trying to make that mental shift or that behavior change? What's the first step they should take, or what's the next steps they should take?
Yeah, the biggest step is being honest with yourself, and because a lot of time, and understanding that you should take care of yourself, put yourself first. We often, especially with you work with people who have lots of families and stuff like that. People will often take care of other people and let themselves down. Yep. It's a very strange dichotomy with human beings, is that we're good helping other people or being there for someone else, but we're very rarely there for ourselves. So it's like, all right, be there for yourself and then be honest with yourself about where you're at. It's okay if you're not where you want to be. And it's also, the other thing is, it's okay to have a complicated relationship with exercise. It's totally fine. It's Absolutely. Not that, it's like, oh, well, why can't I do this? Why shouldn't I be doing, it's like, it's okay to feel that way. Yeah. A lot of people feel that way. It's totally okay.
That's what the trainer is here for, to help you with that.
Yeah.
And I noticed that like a lot with moms, like they just and dads, they put their kids first.
Yes.
Like you got to be the best parent, you got to take care of yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you worked with a lot of parents?
Mostly parents.
Mostly parents.
And I would say they'll do anything for their children. Almost anything. The cost, they'll figure out the cost, whatever it is. But if it's for themselves, then the cost could become an issue.
No, absolutely.
It's crazy, right? I'm sure you've seen this too. It's like, wait a minute. Like, you need to take care of yourself first. It's like paying yourself first. Pay yourself first. Take care of you, and then everything else is going to come in place,
Why do you think it's so hard for people to like look in the mirror? And like for instance, like, people hate the word fat.
Yeah.
but it's like, it is what it is. It's okay. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. I didn't call you ugly. I didn't say your work ethic sucks. I didn't say
Right.
anything bad. I didn't attack you, but it is what it is. It's the truth. Why do you think that's so hard for people?
I think looking back at yourself requires a lot of courage and discipline and honesty to say, it's easy. Like a lot of things, what happens is people blame someone else. Oh, it's because of the food industry. It's because of the environment. These are parts, these are factors.
Yeah.
But if the factor that people often never factor in is themselves.
Yep.
They keep themselves out of the equation as to why things aren't going well. And
Mhm.
this is part of the honesty is like, no, you are actually part of the issue. Just come to terms with it. It's okay,
It's crazy because like by my gym, there's a vitamin shop. I'm always in the vitamin shop. And next to the vitamin shop, there's a Five Guys.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like you go in the vitamin shop, you got, fit people going in there at all ages. My age, I'm 30. You got
Yeah.
younger people, you got people in their 50s, 60s. And you look at the Five Guys, you literally, I'm not joking. You got people limping,
It's
struggling to walk
true.
at the Five Guys. It's crazy. It's like, how are you going to blame that on somebody else? I'm
Yeah.
never going to understand that.
Yeah.
Like,
There's a
you
lot of
gotta get the buzzer.
self-accountability.
What
You
was
have
that?
to have accountability and you have to, that's part of looking back. And also it's like when you start looking at yourself, it's scary
Yeah.
because then you start having to have a face-to-face. You got to have a come to Jesus meeting with yourself and be
Yeah.
like, I could be I could be a significant part of this issue.
Yep.
And that is very scary because then you have to confront the reality that maybe some changes have to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And how do I do that when I may be one of the biggest reasons that
Yeah.
this is happening?
Yeah, man, that all comes with that mental shift.
Mm-hmm.
What made you like start studying the mind? What made you want to do that?
I think honestly, I think it was when I started training back in 2001,
Mm-hmm.
and I was running a faculty and staff fitness facility at James Madison. This was like my first year of my master's degree, and that's when I first started training. The first time I trained somebody, the light bulb went off. I was like, "Oh, this is more about the psychosocial behavior of working
Mm-hmm.
with people. This is about like human relationships. The
Mm-hmm.
training part is great,
Yep.
but very few humans are looking to reach the peak of their physical ability.
Yep.
They're just not willing to do what it takes, and
Mm-hmm.
it may not even be the right thing for them to
Yeah.
do that. So I just said, you know what, I want to focus on being a good relationship builder. How do I build great relationships with another person? And then that also was a thing with like, if I can be good at this, then I'll be also good at building a great relationship with a partner, with a child, with whole thing. Like it'll basically bleed out into all parts of my life. I'll be a better person by focusing on this, and that's why my educational trajectory steered hard towards behavior modification. I said, well, this will just help me be a better person, and this will be a great in my job and great in my personal life. Yeah.
Absolutely. I was well, I want two things I want to highlight.
Mm-hmm.
One is like my clients who got the most results from me, they become like family almost.
Yes.
And because we just had to connect on a different level for them
Yeah.
to keep showing up, to get the results, understand the mindset shift. And then last night I was talking to a younger trainer, and I was I brought up the fact how like clients, they dump so much of their stuff on you. They dump their
Yeah.
family life, work life, all their issues. And he was like, he basically said, I don't have time for that. I don't pay attention. And I told him, I said, if you want to continue to elevate, you're gonna have to. That's just part of the
It's a
game.
crazy thing to say.
You can't get away from it. Yeah, I know. Like,
Yeah.
I know I'm not your therapist. You're not paying me to be a therapist, but it kind of just comes with the territory.
It does. And I mean, you are encompassing a lot of skills that are part of other disciplines, but you have to have some baseline level. So like it's talk therapy, which is happening a lot during training sessions. You may not be a licensed psychologist, but you could have good basic counseling skills. Like I took basic counseling skills, public speaking, all those things. And I
Mhm.
think they helped me so much because I learned body language cues, nudging, all these different theories and practical applications of things I use with my clients, and they don't even know I'm doing it with them.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot about validation, interpersonal communication, all these different things. And
Mhm.
as a trainer, if you're naturally good at that, you got a head start. as a trainer. I mean, you're just going to destroy it probably. If you're not, you're going to need a lot of seasoning with that over time. But you got to be good with making someone feel present with you. And you're right. If you become the majority of my clients are I'm really tight with. We are in fantasy football leagues together. I've seen their kids go from being like 9 years old. Now they're in college. A couple of them are adults now. You just become entrenched into their lives for that. So you better be good at connecting with people. It's a big thing.
Yeah, no, that's a beautiful thing when you see people grow over the years and see changes like that. And I don't have the education you have, but one thing that helped me was I honestly feel like sports helped me.
Yes.
Because you go through the years, you're not just on one team your whole life. You switch teams, you might transfer schools, you get older, so you might move on from a coach, move on from a team.
Yeah.
And just like I've probably had in my 20 or so years of playing basketball, I might have had like 1,000 teammates.
Yeah, that's true, right?
Not to mention the people on other teams and just people in proximity that I'm cool with. So that kind of helped me just getting good with people. And I feel like sports is a big factor. And let's say someone didn't play sports and they don't have the education you have. What can they use to kind of enhance their people skills, or like what can they focus on and be like, oh yeah, I'm good at this. So that's where I get my people skills from.
Yeah, one good thing is you definitely don't have to have the education that I have. My whole situation's very an outlier situation in the business. I mean, I use it for other things. I teach at community colleges and things, which I like doing. But I think in general, I think one of the biggest things, you have to know yourself. It's kind of a thing you do with clients, but also yourself. Like if you have like great charisma and you know how to like connect with other people, you'll probably be a good trainer. I mean, like on a baseline level, understanding your personality on a spectrum and look at yourself and like, am I good at creating relationships in my life? And don't even think about it professionally. Do you get along well with friends? Do you have good friendships? Do you have good conflict resolution with other people in life? If you're like pretty good at those things, you'll probably be an incredible trainer for that. As what I've seen often is honestly, is trainers who are so educated and have no interpersonal skills for that. And they're like the technical trainer, super technical, wants to talk about all the education and the knowledge and all the difference. It's honestly, it really, I hate to say this, but honestly, it doesn't really matter that much.
It does.
Like it really doesn't. It's like,
you know what? I have a few certifications myself, and you got to put yourself in the shoes of the general population.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear about macronutrients, and they don't hear about the biomechanics behind a squat and muscle should dominate the exercise. They don't want to hear that. And no, that's a great point. That's definitely a great point.
And I think it's like, depending on the clients, man, you may be talking about the NASDAQ one day, and the next day you're talking about Netflix shows you guys binge to get, you recommendations. Like that's honestly a big part of it is I feel like I'm an entertainer. I entertain my clients while also providing them a solid exercise progression, but I'm mostly an entertainer with people. And I think if you know that you're good at entertaining people and you're good at like connecting with people, and that's what I think sports is. I was a collegiate athlete just like yourself. And I think you learn getting along with people, teammates, camaraderie.
What did you play?
I was a track and field athlete.
Track and field, cool.
Yeah, so I know what it's like to be around a bunch of athletes and striving for something. What I think is sometimes challenging, actually for me, I'm curious what you think of this, is when you work with clients who had no exposure to athletics.
Yeah.
And then when you actually give them something that's somewhat difficult for them, they struggle with the intensity. It's like they think they're hurt. Like, what is this?
Yeah, like they might not be used to soreness.
Yeah.
And that's where we tap into the mental, what we were talking about before. So what I'll do is, like, let's say I'm training a mom and her legs are sore from leg day.
Yeah.
I'll be like, you had 2 kids. This workout doesn't hurt more than them 2 kids. And then they'll shut up. They can't even rebuttal that.
Yeah.
I just tap into, like, I guess a pain point pretty much. And that pretty helps. But like I say, sports definitely helps.
I think so. I think it's a huge factor, but I've noticed that a lot of trainers actually don't have a lot of athletic background that I've
Yeah.
seen. They actually just enjoy working out, and it's not enough to just like working out. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, but I think if you have to be a good kind of I call it kind of a cruise ship director. You should be you're the circus. You're the ringmaster.
Yeah.
You're controlling the environment and you're making it palatable for them to want to show up. I mean, to make someone show up over and over again for something that it's not exactly enjoyable all
Yeah.
the time, that's an amazing skill.
Yeah.
It's not hard to go to Five Guys. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Man, listen. It's not
It
hard at
really
all.
isn't.
It can't be hard. People limping in there,
That's
struggling
exactly right.
to walk through the door.
I mean, if they're limping, they have some orthopedic issues. You go on the Five Guys, it can't be that hard.
Crazy, man, crazy. So I'm big on like the gym culture right now.
Yes.
I see a lot of the bullshit in the gym. I
Mm-hmm.
highlight it. I talk about it. How do you feel about the current gym culture? Do you think it's in a negative state or a positive state? And how can we change it? Anything that's wrong with it?
Well, one for the viewers and listeners, this is what drew me to Chris. Especially, I love his takes on this stuff because I was like, man, this is like he's saying the quiet part out loud, and I was like, I like that. I like to do that myself. And that episode got a lot of traction. A lot of my colleagues contacted me about it, good and bad, which is great. I like to have both sides of it. It's
You're gonna
fun.
have both when you put your stuff out there in
It
public.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to accept it. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think I lean mostly towards your side of that. I think it's just too nightclubby. I think the dress is often very inappropriate, and I'm not a prude. I mean, I have plenty of episodes talking about sexuality and all these different things. I'm all here for it, but maybe this is a hot take or not. But like, if if people are over sexualizing themselves in the gym, what do you think people are going to be looking at? It's human nature to be visual creatures and to look at things.
Yep.
So if someone has barely anything on, it's not like you're going to be like, I'm not going to look over there. No,
Yeah.
you're probably going to look over there.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
it's hard not to. It's
I mean,
almost impossible.
it's almost impossible. Like, I don't, someone's probably going to be upset about that, but listen, you're just lying if you're saying you're not.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm disturbed by this trend of like really young people who they don't know any better. They're being influenced by social media and different people. And this is also a parental thing. If your parents are letting you go to the gym with your ass hanging half out, what type of parenting is happening there?
Exactly.
Or that, they just don't wake up like that. I mean,
No, you're absolutely right. Absolutely. And it's just like the culture now. We can't, like I always talk about, we can't be honest. And like it's like not only people they're delusional about their weight.
Yeah.
They're delusional about dressing appropriately for the gym. It's like they're delusional in all areas. It's crazy, man. It's just a crazy time we're living in.
Well, you said it best on the podcast you're on mine. You said telling the truth is a sin almost.
It is.
No. And I said, whoa, what a soundbite. That's a great soundbite right there, man. I said, man, but it feels like that. I resonated with that. It's like, if you tell someone, hey, this may not be appropriate, they're going to get upset at you because you're infringing upon their freedom to look crazy, but there still has to be parameters. There can't be this agreed upon chaos.
Yeah.
And then it got to this whole thing. I thought you would be interested in this, is like about posting in gyms and people are in videos. And a colleague of mine was like, well, what about if gyms had a separate area just for like social media posting and workouts? And I thought, well, what would Chris think about that?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't think that is necessary, but I do believe that, like, your colleague that might be uncomfortable with it, they should be able to say something. Hey, I don't want to be in your video. You mind doing that when I move, or I can move out the way for 30 seconds for you to record your video. Because I feel like the posting can be positive, right?
Yes.
You think about it, somebody can post and motivate someone else to come to the gym. So the more people see the gym, the more likely they are to come to the gym. If they don't see it on their timeline at all, they're not coming. So I think the posting can be positive. So I don't know if they need to make a separate area. I don't think that's necessary.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's ways to be nice and respectful about telling someone that you don't want to be in their post. And at the same time, you know, I don't know if you're familiar with Joey Swole. Uh,
No.
okay, he's really popular. He has like 7 million followers, but he kind of, you know, does what I do at a higher scale, where
Yeah.
he'll, you know, call out the bullshit in the industry.
Yeah.
People, you know, they'll zoom in on someone doing a funny exercise or zoom in on an overweight person. When it gets to that, that's a problem, and I
That's a
think
problem.
we do
Yeah.
need to highlight that. But I think the posting is a positive. So
I think
I,
it can be positive too.
yeah,
I think so too. And like the same colleague, they were saying how, like, you know, people should be able to express themselves in their fashion however they see fit when they come to a gym. And I said, okay, listen, I'm going to have to politely disagree with
yeah,
this. And we had a whole posting thing. I know this person. I was on their podcast and stuff.
okay,
And I was like, but, you know, I said, but here's the thing. It's like, what if I just want to wear whatever I want to the store? And
yeah,
that includes no shirt.
yeah,
And, you know, men, women, whoever, the store is going to be like, you can't be served here.
yep,
Like,
yep,
there's parameters. You just can't wear. So I was thinking, like, what if somebody goes, well, I'm just wearing pasties when I come to the gym. I mean, that's how I fly my flag. That's how
exactly,
I, you know, I was like, you can't
exactly,
just have anything.
yeah.
That's just chaos.
We'd be in
Like,
jail.
yeah, exactly. And like, we would definitely be in jail.
Exactly,
like,
we would be in
like,
jail. And
yeah,
that's a great way to think about it. Like, if we go to church, if we go to grocery store,
yeah,
to a restaurant, if we go to work, like if your job says, "Hey, this is the dress code.
yes,
You can't wear this." Why is it okay? Why do you follow the work dress code? But why do you think it's okay to come to the gym
yeah,
and something the complete opposite? Why not have the
yeah.
same respect? So that don't make sense to me,
It
man.
made no sense to me. And I think it's just sometimes you're not exposed to different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, gym fashion, I get it. There's lots of different things to wear, and people want to show out and look good, and I'm all for that. But
Yeah,
there's limits to it.
yeah,
I'm not saying I'm not going to be legalistic about it. Just like, I mean, seriously, you know when you're wearing, you know what it looks like. Just like if you go clubbing or something, and somebody's well, you know what you're wearing
know
when you
what
go
you're
out to the
doing
club, right?
exactly.
You know what you're going to the club. You're wearing a certain thing. If somebody tells me they don't know, they're lying. They're definitely lying.
Yeah, there's no logical explanation for it. You know, attention. That's attention is the new currency. Like I
Attention is
said,
the currency, right? Yeah.
exactly, man, for sure. So, one thing I want to talk about is like people. They'll like this lady stopped me in a parking lot the other day. She saw my shirt and was like, "Are you a trainer?" I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "I want to get in shape, but I don't want to be a gym rat." And you know, so those people will use the term gym rat, like, you know, thinking it's crazy, insane. They use that to describe people's healthy relationship with fitness, but they
Mm.
don't condemn the people who are club rats, drug rats, alcohol
Yeah.
rats, fast food rats, sugar rats,
Yeah.
consume negativity everyday rats.
Right.
It's crazy. So why do you think it's the gym that gets the bad rap for doing something consistently, but people can do all the bullshit, all the madness
Yeah.
consistently and not get anything for it?
I think the gym is something very personal about the gym. It's a mirror of reflection back about our bodies and how we feel about our bodies
Mm-hmm.
for that. And people have very different feelings about how they look, how they fit into things, how they used to look, all these different things. So that your body is so personal. And you see other bodies and you think, oh, these people are looking at me or
Yep.
they're judging me.
Yep.
And I think like when you're in some of those other situations, you're less likely to be thinking about that.
Yep.
It's just, but in the gym, it feels like everybody's on display
Mm-hmm.
and everybody is an entree for all people to observe. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's just, it's very personal to a lot of people. Just like with food, food is such a personal thing to so many people. It could be culturally personal, regionally personal, globally it just depends on what it is. So I just
Yeah.
think that like, and also fitness has done a pretty weird and terrible job of the marketing for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of always been in the past, like people like you and I, Chris, have never been part of the marketing campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Also part of it. It's always been, I'm just going to be honest about it. It's always been kind of your big spiky haired white guy
Yeah.
or white woman.
Yeah.
And a lot of the marketing, the pictures, they don't see us.
Mm-hmm.
So they see this gym rat as this stereotypical white person who is really huge and big and ripped and, you know, the whole thing, versus seeing someone that looks like you who is like, listen, I'm not a gym rat. I just come here to get in what I got to get done and then I go. We're
Exactly.
not promoting that at
Yep.
all.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. And you know, I think I don't know the study behind this or anything, but like anything that's like a quick dopamine hit,
Yeah.
you know, where people get it to escape reality, escape their I guess their struggles, their obstacles.
Yeah.
Uh I think that's why people kind of don't condemn that side.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like a lot of people are just depressed. You know, we got inflation
Yeah.
rate high. We
Yeah.
got a
Yeah.
lot of stuff going on in our country. So I think that's part of what it is. And the gym isn't like an instant gratification thing. It's a
No.
gratification. And you know, people hate delayed gratification.
Yeah, exactly. The gym is the results and progress is the enemy of human beings
Yeah.
because it takes a while. Good things are long-term commitments,
For
you
sure.
know. And I think one of the things is, especially when gyms were closed and people were home in the pandemic, humans for the first time since ancient humans actually had time to like think about their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people go, I hate this shit. I don't like what
Yeah.
I'm seeing. And some people are like, it's not too bad, you know, I
Yep.
have going on. But I just think when like it's scary to think about your own existence and how you look and what's happening to you and what's happening in the world. And the gym in many ways too is a sanctuary for a lot of people. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it too. Sometimes you have people in the gym 2, 3, 4 hours, like they're employed there or something. I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
and it's like, why are you in here so long? You
Yeah.
know, it's like,
Yeah. Now that they say the gym is the best thing for mental health and depression.
yeah,
So, yeah, I mean, it helps a lot of people. Yeah.
it does. So they're there. And I think there's a social element to it that people feel. There's
Hmm.
different areas of the gym that people belong to. You got people who just go for group exercise. Some people just come for the sessions. Some people literally just come to talk on their phone and walk around. It's crazy.
It is.
I've seen that
I
many
see it
times.
all. I see
Yeah,
it all.
you see, right? You see every type of person and activity in the gym. Sometimes real hard workouts to literally nothing happening, just walking around. You know.
Yep. Um, we want to shift gears a little bit. So with AI becoming more prominent, how do you feel about AI in the fitness industry? And you know, will this help or hurt mental health, and will this help or hurt fitness goals?
I actually love this question because I just had a fitness tech advisor on my podcast. The episode came out today.
Hmm.
And it's literally all about that regenerative AI, future body scannings, merging with technology biologically and all that.
Yep.
And I think we're in that already,
Yeah.
and we're just in the initial phases
Yep.
of it. Will it replace, you know, training? Probably not. It would probably be a nice enhancement to it. But I actually think it'll be part of job creation for trainers, of that there'll be tiering. So like they'll be able to have 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8 entry points into training. You could
Hmm.
actually training people in person, virtual training, virtual coaching, and just all the way down. So all different income levels will be able to actually work with someone
Yeah.
depending on where their income level is. So I think it will democratize training and provide more opportunities on various tiers or levels for it.
Yeah.
As far as the mental health aspect for it, I think that's up in the air. I think that depends on anything. Some things can be used for good, some things can be used for bad.
Yeah.
I think we hear a lot about the bad, but there's a lot of value in AI based fitness things. I just think it's not at the level right now where it would be threatening
Yeah.
for a lot of trainers. I mean, it lies. It says a lot of weird stuff. I mean, it just and yeah, it may could write a program and things of that nature, but it's not at the point where it can actually have a lot of nuance
For
with
sure.
other people for that. So, I mean, I think algorithms, AI, and all that can be very detrimental, but could be good if used properly. But that's almost like anything in life, you know.
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely. I think it can be great for new trainers because there's no like there's I feel like anybody can be a trainer if they want to. If you
Yeah,
can convince people that you can do it. You know, I hear so many people, you know, scamming and
yeah,
not following through, not giving a meal plan, not showing
yeah,
up, being late. So I think that's great to give some structure for new trainers. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, how AI and fitness is in the next few years.
yeah. It'll definitely grow. I just think it's the future, I've talked to a few people in this space. We're already in an age where like holographic technologies exist. They're just really expensive, like $60,000 holographic machines, but much like video conferencing, which was also even more expensive when it came out.
Yeah.
The price will come down, supply and demand, and eventually we will be training people in holographic environments, which will feel indistinguishable from reality at some point in the future.
Absolutely.
And more like science fiction, but becomes real reality is some people will merge with the technology where you will no longer have phones and these things, and it will just be part of your biological makeup with those things. That's probably going to happen, down the line,
That makes sense. I can definitely see that happening too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do you think majority of people in our country don't work out? And what can be done to get them in the gym?
This is a thing I've lectured on quite a bit in conferences and stuff, but a good resource, I think, for listeners is Dr. Daniel Lieberman. His book, Exercised, is incredible. And it talks about the biological and anthropological beginnings of humans, that humans are conservation machines. And we only do things and if it basically supports our survival. And so if you look at hunter-gatherer societies now and in the past, exercise was done because it was necessary for reproduction, building homes, hunting. If you didn't eat, eating was a luxury for ancient humans. And you only did it if you worked out. You went long distances, hunted, seasonal based eating, all those things. You eat what you kill. I mean, meat was not common because it was very difficult to acquire. So we still have that DNA in us, that ancient technology essentially, which says, why would I do this?
Right.
Like, this is like, why am I going to expend caloric energy for something that doesn't make me feel like I need to survive today? Most humans are not surviving on a daily basis, thinking, where am I going to eat? They're rolling to Five Guys. They're going to McDonald's. They're like, there's endless options of food. So in developed countries, there's not a issue with finding food or surviving. Now that's different in different countries, but we're conservation machines. So it's natural that people don't want to exercise. Actually, it's actually illogical for people to exercise the way we currently do it because it doesn't make sense to our biology.
Right.
Like just going for a run for the purpose of health is so foreign to human bodies. It doesn't make sense for that. So you're fighting this biological coding that's saying only do things if you need to do it, if it's necessary. So that's where I come with the exercise is complicated for people. It's like, okay, this is your history. This is our history as human beings. Now that you know this, it's not an excuse to do nothing. We have to exist in this plane because technology has essentially created it made a trade-off. We have more convenience than ever, and we have less need to actually be active because of our convenience. And I think you know this, and I know this, it's not like we're going to go backwards. It's not like we're going to go back to horse and buggies or, shut the energy grid down.
It's not happening.
It's not happening. Humans are hungry for progress, hungry for more technology. That next iPhone's coming out. The next thing's happening. We are not going backwards, but the trade-off is that we're going to have less activity. So you almost have to exercise. If you don't, you will actually be part of what's currently happening, which is like 70% of people are obese or overweight. That's a staggering stat. Staggering.
That's crazy, man.
That's like most of humanity.
Yeah. Really. That's crazy. No, that I didn't even know that that it was like it wasn't natural for us to.
It's not natural.
I didn't know that. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, it'll blow people's mind if you tell them that. They'll go, "Oh, that makes sense."
That's great insight. No, definitely. So you have a very educational podcast, and you touch on various topics. What's your vision with that podcast, and how do you come up with ideas, guests, and topics?
Well, the initial vision was just to talk to as many different people from many different disciplines as possible, just because I like a lot of different things. So I just kind of go wherever I'm feeling it. Right now, I'm feeling like interviewing a lot of my colleagues, you
Yep.
know, but then like 6 months from now, I may produce a series about a cult. Like I've done stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
I'll interview different things. I will, you know, it may be a whole month on sex and sexuality and BDSM dungeons and stuff. I mean, I've done all that stuff.
Yeah,
Like
bro.
just
Yeah.
like almost like a journalistic style
Mhm.
podcasts, you know, sometimes heavily produced, sometimes not heavily produced. So I just really go off of like how I feel
Yeah.
in that moment, in
Yeah,
that
no,
time.
it's all types of interesting stuff on there.
Yeah,
I
it's
just
different.
I definitely wanted to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, man. So look, as we wrap up, you have any advice for any up and coming trainers that want to excel in the fitness industry?
Yeah. Most definitely. You want to get in the business, want to highly recommend working on yourself
For
first.
sure. Yep.
Yeah, like it have if you feel like, you know, you need therapy, you need counseling, I highly suggest it. Is something I did, especially in the beginning of my training career. I had a therapist, and I had it during my education. I had a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
Work on yourself, build your coping mechanisms, your resiliency, and learn how to talk to people.
Yeah,
Learn how to have good. Talk to as many people as possible. Build, sharpen the knife of conversation, because when you train people, is a lot of conversation
yeah,
while you're exercising with people. You cannot be
exactly.
silent. Like
Personal development and
personal development.
fitness, they go hand in hand, man.
And then you have to be good at connecting with other people. Build that skill, obviously get certified, whole thing, but become great at interacting with other people. And I'm going to
Absolutely.
tell you that happens by reaching out to people, having conversations with them, go on podcasts,
Yeah,
have coffee meetings with people, just meet as many people as possible, build the skill of connection.
absolutely. No, man, it's crazy. You know, I tell people all the time, like, if you can't follow a meal plan, don't you think that's like a character flaw? Don't you think there's something going on there? We got to work on that. You know, it might be essential for another area in life.
Yeah.
Following directions. So
Right. Following directions. Yeah.
exactly. So hey, man, this was a great conversation. You know,
Awesome.
I'm not surprised because we had a great conversation on
Oh, yeah.
the podcast. So
For sure. Yeah. I love doing this stuff. It's all about chatting for me, you know.
definitely. No, I definitely appreciate you coming on. Where are you
Thank you.
located again?
I'm in Colorado, in
Colorado.
northern
Okay.
Colorado. Yep.
Colorado. Okay. No, definitely appreciate you. So, hey, another great episode on the Less Brunches, More Crunches podcast. You can follow Dr. Darian. Can you plug in your social media real quick?
Yeah, yeah. So I primarily my website, drdarianparker.com. You spell out doctor. And on LinkedIn is primarily where I'm at over there. So you can check me out. Both of those places, the best places to contact, and then my podcast, Dr. D Social Network, on all major podcast platforms. You just type it in, you'll see there's constant episodes. There's always something coming out.
Always something. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once again, appreciate you coming on, and you know, please like, comment, subscribe on the YouTube page, share it with a friend, and give me feedback. Shoot me anything you want me to talk about or react to. Appreciate y'all watching. Catch y'all on the next episode. We out.